And we decided to each throw in $50,000 and open up our pilot studio. Keep in the moment, keep it there. Don't start worrying about 12 months down the line. Do you need to kind of have a game plan? Yeah, but don't put all this effort into it. Put your effort into the purpose, your contribution, and what best you're trying to create right now. I want to be at where the fitness professionals who come into it can make a living. I do not want that gym concept and you're paying them $10, $9 to train people and do all this. That isn't what I want. We feel that we want to be the leaders in this form of fitness training. And we're so far ahead of doing that probably the technology is always the most challenging thing, but the most rewarding.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Nick Carrier's Best You podcast. I could not be more excited today to have the founder of Orangetheory Fitness, the one and only Ellen Latham, with me today. Ellen, I just want to start off by saying what an honor it is for you to be joining me here today.
I'm thrilled. I love to talk orange, so anyone who's willing to listen, I'm going to talk about it.
I love it. Well, basically all of my audience knows that I coach Orangetheory, and I have been now since the beginning of 2016. So I've been doing it for quite some time now. And it was my first job in the health and fitness space. Actually, when I was a junior in college, I started it. And basically before I even ask the first question, I just want to acknowledge you for honestly like changing my life, because I studied finance and insurance when I was in school. And then I got introduced to fitness and first started with Orangetheory Fitness. And I absolutely fell in love with it, fell in love with the workout, fell in love with the energy of it, fell in love with the members and the community. And ever since I, decided that I wanted to do it full time and not pursue necessarily my finance and insurance career. And so I just want to acknowledge you for changing my life and changing so many others, both employees and members' lives. So just wanted to start off like that.
I hear rave reviews about the kind of coach you are. And it sounds like exactly when I wrote my book, the type of coach that should be working for Orangetheory. So I thank you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Well, to start off, I want to kind of give everyone a brief background. So kind of back when you were in your early 50s, you had this Pilates studio and everybody loved the Pilates studio, but everybody was kind of wanting this type of workout also where they could start to burn some fat, because Pilates is a great workout, but it doesn't necessarily have a metabolic component to where you're going to burn fat as well. And so you kind of opened up this other room and you started running this additional workout and people were loving it. They were seeing some great results. Your classes were packed. And then all of a sudden, I understand that one of your members walked in and said that you should talk to my husband. Like, he's involved with franchising. He helped Massage Envy grow. And you originally weren't that sure. And then you came back a little bit later and you're like, let's do this thing. Let's have this conversation. And so you were at the time 54 years old, single mother of one 9-year-old child. What were the habits or what were the things that you had done leading up to that point in your life that you think prepared you for what was going to happen over the next decade?
Well, listen, I've been in the fitness industry for literally 45 years this year. So think about your coaching. I've been doing it for 45 years straight, except when I had Evan, which I only took off 6 weeks and I was back to group instruction. So group format was my forte. That's what I love coaching, as opposed to in fitness, personal training and that type of thing. Group training was just something I was very good at. I was passionate about, I was creative with. So I just stuck with for decades. Schooling wise, I have a bachelor's in phys ed. I have a master's degree in exercise physiology. And when you talk about preparation, and I give this advice all the time to coaches, to new franchisees that are, they're new to owning a business, is you have to be an intentional learner. And what I mean by that is your learning does not stop when that degree is handed to you on stage. And that's the most beneficial thing that I did from day one. From the day I graduated, I continued every certification in fitness that was possible. I'm certified in kickboxing, slide, spin, step, every mode of fitness that ever existed. I not only studied fitness in the normal sense of physiology, but also psychology and behavioral aspects of human beings. And I took to that because I wanted in a group setting to be able to appeal to all levels of people and, to make everyone successful. Fitness is about giving hope in my eyes. And this is something that the fitness industry has not done well for the many decades I've been in it. It's great if you're someone who already innately takes to fitness. If you're already somewhat fit, it's great. You go into a gym, you feel comfortable, you get pushed, you're naturally motivated. But if you're not, which is 80% of our population, you kind of are lost. And that's what I felt in group fitness that really didn't happen real well out there. So when you talk about preparation, it's intentional learning. It's looking at what's missing and then trying to fill that need.
So you really thought there was a gap between the people who were not comfortable going to working out by themselves or going to a group class, and you felt like you could break down that barrier of making people feel comfortable kind of stepping into that space.
I knew that because I taught. I mean, I remember teaching step classes and aerobic classes, and all the girls that were the fitness queens all got in the front and second row right behind me as I was leading the routines. And you'd see the other people kind of creeping in the back row, hiding in the corner because maybe they were a little overweight, maybe they were deconditioned, a little uncoordinated, and it bothered me. Because you see, in fitness, and why I'm able to do it for 45 years is because not so much I'm interested in giving someone a better bicep. There's really an innate passion in me to give hope in physical fitness to human beings. So when you scrape it down to the basics of why you're doing what you're doing, you really can find great success. And it's not from, oh, great, this is a great business to be in right now. I can make a lot of money. Oh, great, this is a great franchise, Orangetheory Fitness. And that's why when Evan's describing you to me and what a motivating and inspirational coach you are, that's something inside of you. That's not because you walked into this facility because, the facility was orange and it's your favorite color. It's because something inside of you drew you to passionately want to help people. And it sounds like you recognize that we appeal to all levels of human beings, the very deconditioned, the older person. And if you're really someone who understands, again, what Orange is about, it's about wanting everyone to walk in that room, to experience the experience and exit going, wow, I was just next to a professional ball player and I'm like overweight and haven't been exercising for decades. And I love it. And that's what was missing that I searched for when I created this workout. I did it in my Pilates studio because I started to recognize this gap in group fitness. So I did it with my Pilates women and I said, wow, this works. All levels of women in my classes. I use a certain language of how I want to coach it. And so when these individuals were feeling like, Ellen, we're not getting this in other metabolic workouts. I'm working with a personal trainer. I'm at a boot camp. I'm taking spin classes. Ellen, I'm not, it's that same group you talk about of the people who excel in fitness. And I feel less set in it. I don't feel better. So it's that kind of stuff that, drew me to do what we do.
Yeah, no, I love it. I really resonate with the thing you said in regards to your kind of mission is to provide hope to other people in their physical fitness, because I think one of the things that lights me up the most whenever I'm coaching at Orangetheory or coaching in general is when you see anybody, regardless of what their ability level is, kind of step into being able to do something that they didn't believe that they could do. And that then they start to believe in themselves. They start to have hope that they can take it to the next level and then the next level. And to me, that's what just kind of lights me up and fills me up when I'm coaching as well. So I definitely really resonated with that. But one of the things I was really intrigued is you started this when you were 54. So that's a little bit on the later side with a lot of entrepreneurs. Do you think it had to be 54? Like, do you think you were ready at 44 or at 34? Do you think 54 was the right time for you?
Yeah. Well, I had always worked for others. So I had only been an entrepreneur working for myself and going and hanging my own shingle in business for, I would say, 5 years before that. Otherwise, I had always worked great jobs, managed high-end spas, high-end facilities, consulting for different fitness groups, but I was still working under their umbrella. So yes, I needed to have 5 years of experience business wise of hanging my own, sign out in front and not just be what I do well in fitness, but be a business owner, know how to develop, financial budgets, know how to develop proper marketing. There's a lot more to really owning your own business than just, I'm a great fitness coach and I can go out there and I can draw. And this happens all the time because I do some, consulting with it's a lot of women groups because I'm very into women in business. And this is where they go wrong. I'm a great coach. I could pile people in, but you're not great at business and you don't know marketing and you're not great at financially moving a business forward. That's what's so great about a franchise is Orangetheory, because we bring all of those aspects to the owners, to the coaches and how to coach for all levels of people, so on and so forth, to the managers. That's what's so great about, our model that I see go very wrong. So back to the question of, did I need that? I did, because I needed to learn how to be a successful business owner, which I wasn't. I was a very successful fitness person. That's not the same as a business owner.
Right. No doubt. And there's a lot of numerous different things that I absolutely love and respect and appreciate about Orangetheory, but that might be one of the biggest things in regards to, I was in the business school in college. So I know a little bit about business and I've continued to learn more and more, but I don't know if Evan told you, but in 2019, I did this personal project that I called 52 gyms in 52 weeks, where I went around to 52 different gyms in the Nashville area, all different modalities of fitness to kind of try them out and to learn about them and stuff like that. And one of the biggest things that I saw and that I realized is just like so many places, like I'm not knocking any of them, but so many places just aren't run well. Like they might be a good workout, but they are not run well whatsoever. And I think doing that, like, cause my first job in fitness was at Orangetheory. And so I just kind of thought that was normal. And then when I go out to these other places, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what are they doing? Like they have no idea what they're doing. And so I really appreciate that about it. And I think that a lot of people, especially nowadays, are impatient with trying to reach the level of success that they want to reach. And they're not realizing that, like, look, you need the experiences that you're having right now. You need to really soak it up. You need to intentionally learn, as you said, so that when an opportunity might present itself, you're ready for it.
Absolutely. So when that member came in and she presented that her husband was in franchising, and basically, as you said, I didn't jump on it right away because that franchising word scared me. I knew nothing about it. And I said that to her. I said, April, I know nothing about franchising. I don't think this would be for me. I have this great successful, studio with this new workout that I created. Luckily, she came in a second time and I had spoken to some family members, some friends, and they had said, listen, you've paid your dues. You've been in the business for 5 years and the stuff, these people obviously are going to bring a lot to the table and they feel you're going to bring a lot to the table. That's why there's an interest in this conversation. And it was right on. And what I learned about that in partnerships, and it's so key and so important to really have great success, is you really kind of need three people in it. You need a visionary, and that was Jerome Kern, one of our partners. He, since age 20, he must have bought 20 different franchises in his life. He has campgrounds, massage envies, just all kinds of franchises, because he's a visionary. He's someone that goes, there's something to this franchising concept, and I'm going to figure it out. So he was a visionary. Then you need someone who's kind of the manager of, the whole business aspect. And that's someone who not necessarily is a visionary, because the visionary is moving at 90 miles an hour and maybe not paying attention to the detail. So the manager, who is Dave Long in our business, who's my partner, he's the one who's sitting there going, wait, we need to make sure we have this position, and they've got to have a couple positions under them to make this, this truck move like it needs to move, and so on and so forth. And then you need the artist, and I'm the artist. So how I look at this, and this is one of Tony Robbins' concepts. And luckily, I know Tony well. He's had me on stage with him at, his business mastery. And it was very interesting when he brought up, let me tell you a little bit why I think you're successful. I'm sure it's a lot of things, but you have a visionary, you have a manager, and you have an artist as the three partners in your business. And the artist is the person who creatively creates the workout. I may not, and I know I'm not a great manager of a franchise, and that's what the fear was of me not wanting to take this on. Luckily, we always say that we kind of, I don't know, did we luck out or whatever, that the three of us who came together and joining had each of these expertise that really made this explode.
Yeah, no, I love that you brought that up, and I think that was so key. I actually watched that interview with Tony a few days ago, and so I love that. I love that, and I love that you kind of had to kind of realize that was the reason why it worked, and then he kind of put those three terms to it, and you're like, boom, like, oh my gosh, yeah, no doubt. So kind of where did you get connected with these other two, the visionary and the manager?
Well, again, the wife of one of my members came into my studio. Yeah, and of Jerome, the visionary.
Okay.
Wife came in, was a member of my studio.
Yep.
I created this workout. It wasn't called Orangetheory. It was called Ellen's Ultimate Workout. And it was, as you see, in the sense of the passion of the people. It didn't it looked like there's words above the treadmills, except it was red and gray as opposed to orange and all of these things. But it exploded. And it's that same type of thing where all levels of people were coming in. They were getting great coaching that were giving them hope. They were telling everyone about this great metabolic workout that not only is shifting things bodily, but I really kind of love it, which is, crazy, because here we're talking about a lot of that 80% of people who have been lost in the fitness world, who really have not found success in walking in gyms and doing boot camps that someone's yelling more, harder, and they can't go more and harder. So it exploded, and she saw this explosion, went back to her husband, who was kind of always looking for a great franchise concept. And he invited Dave, who is the manager, to come and take a class and to sit down and have a conversation. The three of us just clicked then, and probably it was because our conversation led from the visionary to the, manager to the artist, really having this kind of interesting conversation that everyone kind of went, oh yeah, we need that. Oh yeah, we need that. Oh yeah, we need that. And we decided to each throw in $50,000 and open up our pilot studio in Fort Lauderdale. So literally this business cost me $50,000.
Wow.
And we never paid a penny after that. And we opened up our pilot studio, and that studio was in downtown Fort Lauderdale. It's studio 00001, because now we have 1,400 studios. And it took off. It just took off.
I would say for investment of $50K, I think you got a pretty good ROI. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, yeah, I really think that's super cool how, the conversation probably went so well among y'all three because each of you needed, like there was a separate part of the conversation that each person was stepping into and filling that gap for. So that's really revealing to me personally as a somebody who's running my own business. I'm like, yeah, I kind of need that person and that person too. But one of the things that you also talked about in that interview with Tony Robbins was that kind of early on, and it was kind of that gap between when April first came to you, and then you said that you wanted to have the meeting with her husband. That you said you kind of had a little bit of self-doubt and a little bit of a limiting beliefs about whether or not you can do this, because one of the big reasons might have been there's at the time there weren't that many big female business mentors, if you will. And so you kind of had to overcome a little bit of that self-doubt. So was that kind of a hurdle that you got over pretty early on, or was that like a constant battle? And how did you kind of work through that and overcome that?
It is a challenge, you know, for women because there aren't a lot of great examples of, especially in fitness and franchising. In fitness, most of the gym owners, most of the big guys in fitness equipment, or they're men. They're men. You don't hear a lot of women in the fitness industry who are, you know, at a very, very high level that we're the aerobic instructors, we're the managers of clubs and, you know, spas, which I was.
Right.
And so, of course, that's going to, you know, make you feel a little insecure. And interestingly enough, I think what happened was because those other gaps were filled with the manager and the visionary, which were things that I'd sit there and go, how do we grow this? How do we think of the detail that we need? I didn't need any of that. All they wanted me for is the artistry of the workout. So I think that as we started our journey together, built confidence because it ended up being them looking at me and for me for what my strengths were and allowed me to learn about how to grow a franchise, how to have the detail of managing such an animal, and we learned from each other. We've been together as partners for what now, 13 years, and it is the best partnership. And from what I hear, I've never had partners because I always, just had my own little studio myself. Is that doesn't always happen. A matter of fact, it's very challenging to have partnerships. And so I feel very, very fortunate, knock on wood, that those two guys always respected me highly, my ideas, my frustrations with things and what I needed to express. And we found a way to keep this moving. And listen, it always wasn't like a grand slam from Studio One. Studio One was a grand slam. Studio 2, 3, and 4 were disasters. This is when we sold them to other people. We weren't running them. And, this is where we had to figure out, how do we teach others how to run an Orange successful? So that's a whole journey in itself that path that we got on. As a matter of fact, we actually stopped franchising about 18 months in because we decided we're not going to take anyone's money. There's no way we're going to do that as a franchise, or unless we have our act together fully and we're able to make them successful. From what I hear, again, that's very unique. No one starts to build a franchise model and stop at the 18-month mark. Especially, we had people knocking at our door wanting to buy one, but we said, we will not do that until we giving you the best product that we can give you. So,
yeah, no, I like that a lot, and I think you'd probably agree with this. There probably would not be 1,400 studios if y'all had tried to just keep going at that point and you hadn't taken a step back and got a little bit more maybe organized on y'all's end in regards to how to communicate with a future franchise owner on how to run and operate smoothly. So you talked about how you've been partners now with those two for 13 years. I think that getting closer to the best version of ourselves, one of the most important things that we can do is learn how to maximize our relationships and connect and communicate. What do you think has maybe been the 3 biggest keys to you guys being able to have this longevity with your partnership?
Yeah. Well, I think the first word that comes to mind is respect. Because it just in any relationship, if it's a marriage, with children, whatever the case, family members, once you lose respect, it's very hard. Because listen, even though you try to keep emotion out of business, you start to lose that with each other. It's very hard to be on the same team and push through the adversity that's going to come forward. So
how do you think you gain respect from somebody?
Well, I think that in the beginning, there was a lot of communicating. There was a lot of listen, I don't feel that, you brought me in on that decision to change this part of the workout. And that really doesn't work for me. And you're being upfront about things. You communicate in a clear, concise manner, try not to get too emotional. I'm very Italian, so that was very hard for me in the beginning. But luckily one of my partners is very Italian too, so he got it. He kept saying, oh my God, I like all my family members. So I think that communicating right out of the gate, so that are you good, you're checking in with everyone in the beginning, is very, very important. I think that, respect is there. I think that the vision is very important, that you're very clear on the vision. And we had a lot of conversations about that, of what's our vision of, let's put 30 of these on the map, and maybe we'll own all 30. And this will be a great partnership for the three of us to own 30 successful studios. Are we good with that? Or are we, going to go gangbusters? We're going to, sell these. We're going to get area reps. They're going to, own an area that they're going to be responsible for putting up 40 of them and this. So you all got to have the same vision, because if that's not the case, then there'll be frustrations of, well, I never really wanted to do this many or this and that, you know what I mean? So conversation, this is a lot of communication and conversation about that. So I think, respect, having the same vision. And then I'm one that has to believe you have to have passion for whatever this product is. I don't care if you're selling this, I don't know, what is this, Evan? Whatever this is, okay? Is it a computer? Is it a calculator? Whatever you're selling, that you are so passionate about, this is the best thing you are ever going to buy and use to figure out anything you have to figure out in life. And that passion comes across, and I still have it. We're 13 years old in Orangetheory. Like I said, 45 years in fitness, and I'm still very passionate about what we do. And I hear that often from our franchisees. Ellen, I love when you're at convention. I love when you're at summit and you present something or whatever, because after it, I just feel like, okay, this was definitely the right decision, because if you're still that passionate about it, I'm going to bring that back, and I can keep this shit moving.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Like you said, the second one was having a clear vision and being able to communicate that vision clearly amongst the three of you guys. And I think that in order to get closer to the best version of ourselves, it all starts with gaining clarity on a vision. Gain clarity on the vision for what the best version of ourselves looks like and what that person's capable of and what that person does. And then I try to think about reverse engineering that person every single day. So one of the things that I thought about beforehand is what's kind of the appropriate balance. Because in the beginning of you guys starting this, you probably didn't think, okay, we're going to have 1,400 studios. We're going to be in X number of countries. We're going to have 1 million plus members. So what's the balance of needing to have a vision, but also kind of like being okay with moving forward into uncharted waters, if you will, without knowing exactly what it looks like? What's kind of the balance of vision versus I'm not really sure?
Yeah. Well, I think it all comes down to spending time and thinking about your purpose. I'm very clear of what my purpose is. My purpose is my contribution in this lifetime. Okay. So I'm 65 years old. So it's a type of thing. When I was 25 years old and I was coaching group fitness, my purpose, like I said, might have been very different. It'd be, give someone a great looking set of arms, give someone, get some body fat off of that woman's, abdomen by getting her excited about her diet, as well as what's going on with the aerobic workouts I'm giving her. That purpose can change through life, and it's okay. But what can't change is you being very keen to what your purpose is. Again, definition of purpose to me is what my contribution is in the moment in my lifetime. So right now, my contribution, or what you were talking about going back to the very beginning, my contribution was very small. It was like, I wanted, if we had 3 franchisees, I had this great passion. We want those 3 franchisees who believed in this product I created, who put some money forth to open up one of these studios. I had just had great purpose and focus on wanting them to be successful. And those coaches to be the best coaches. And we've got some of those coaches from 13 years ago still with us. And what's so great is that I think a lot of that was because I didn't look too far ahead. I just stayed more in where I was at right now. What was my contribution to 3 studios open, those 3 studios being accessible? And I put every ounce of energy into that. Then we start growing. The platform becomes bigger. Now my purpose is to have a platform of 26 different countries, 1 million members, 1,400 studios for all of these individuals who have put forth effort, passion, confidence in offering great fitness to human beings out there. And every day when I go into corporate and I'm meeting with the template design team and I'm meeting with the fitness team, we're constantly taking input in from you coaches, from members of, maybe that workout, let's toss that one because that one really maybe didn't go over as well as, and this one, let's put that in the vault. We call it the vault. That's like a great one. And we put great effort and time into doing that. We put out it's like something like 900 workouts a month. It's absolutely insane. By the time you do 3Gs, 2Gs, 45 minutes, this, and it's like mind-boggling that these professionals that we've got and the team we've got now, the newly hired individuals we have now are the best that's ever been in the Orangetheory Fitness history. So I'm so excited about the next couple of years of what everyone's going to be seeing. It's going to take a little time, of course, because of they plan them a couple of months ahead of time. But I'm very excited about where we're going with the professionalism of our workouts. So I guess the answer to the question is keep in the moment. Keep it there. Don't start worrying about 12 months down the line. Do you need to kind of have a game plan? Yeah, but don't put all this effort into it. Put your effort into the purpose, your contribution, and what best you're trying to create right now, because then you become the best at it and people recognize that. And that's what moves you forward.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I couldn't agree more. And I really resonated with it. I think, everybody needs to start with a vision. You start with kind of a grand plan and a big idea, but then you can't let the grandness of the plan, or you can't let the bigness of the idea paralyze you in the moment. You have to think about, okay, what does success look like for me today, moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day. And that's what allows you to not get too overwhelmed and paralyze you. Yeah. Love it. I love it. So one of the things I was also really interested in is how you made the shift from leading a bunch of clients, and you probably had some employees at your studio, I guess, as well, but leading a bunch of clients to leading a bunch of employees, and kind of what the difference was there. And I know you had these other partners and maybe they did a little bit more of some of that work, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but what is the difference between leading clients to where they want to be and leading employees to where they want to be?
Yeah. So listen, I still coach. It's like, not as much, little group and this type of thing, but I always feel it allows me to, keep handle on the pulse of what's going on the floor with a group of people. And I think, again, for them, it's about that hope word of really success. Now, the word success from client to employee is the same thing. It's just different kinds of success in the sense that client is coming in and not worrying about maybe, growth professionally, or, they're becoming intentional learners and better as fitness professionals, whatever the case may be. That client's really wanting to be more successful at the feats you're giving them every day, the physical feats, the physical activities you're giving them. But it's very similar in the sense of we all want success. It's just what the definition of success is. For the employee, I have found, and I talk often to franchisees about this, is that I don't know if this is the fitness industry, which is really the only industry I know, but they want to really feel that their contribution is making a difference. Now, mind you, we certainly want to make financially, good money in this type of thing. And the first thing, one of the conversations I had with my partners in the early days was, if we are going to do a franchise, I want to be at where the fitness professionals who come into it can make a living. I do not want that gym concept and you're paying them $10, $9 to train people and do all this. That isn't what I want. I in my studio, my original studio, I had paid well, like we pay. And I said, I wanted that. So if someone's teaching 10, dozen, 15 classes, they've got a nice little, very part-time gig going on that they're making a nice bit financially, because that is an important aspect of it, but also that, we're making them successful at what they want to be in the fitness industry. We're giving them education, information, the whys. We're listening to them. It's a two-way street. We're respecting them. All of these things that I think in the fitness industry, at least, I did not see with fitness professionals. You were kind of poo-pooed if you went into fitness. I mean, people waiting, Ellen, what's your career going to finally be one day? They're not laughing now at me. I can tell you that. But, it was like, I was single parenting a child and this and that. And it's like, are you going to get a real job or so on and so forth? Because maybe I was in jobs where I had to find my own medical coverage and so on and so forth because it wasn't offered. But I knew that's what I needed to do. This is what my calling was while I was on this earth. So I knew that. I knew my purpose, and I wasn't going to alter it because maybe people thought I was supposed to be doing something else or society thought that. So it was very important that this fitness product gave people viable jobs, good financial stability. And I think, we're one of the few fitness group training programs out there that have really put effort into that for our employees.
Yeah, I could not agree more as an actual employee myself. I really liked how you distinguished early on you need to be kind of approaching the client and the employee as trying to fulfill their definition of success. And the client, that's hope with their fitness and their physical fitness. And with the employee, I mean, you could not have hit it more on the head in regards to financial stability and in regards to providing professional growth and learning and listening to them, because you guys do so much of that at Orangetheory. It's just embedded in the different systems and processes that we have, that we're allowed to give feedback for the workouts, where we get so much constant education. Because I know, you get your certification early on, but so much of my learning has been through Orangetheory. And I felt like I've grown so much as a trainer and so much as a professional in this industry just through training. And that's why so many people do stick around for so long. That's why I have been doing it for 5.5 years now. At this point, you still have people who are doing it from day one. So could not be more true, and it could not be more apparent to me right now. So Orangetheory, even since the time that I've been around, has made a lot of different, I'm using the term leaps, have made a lot of leaps. And, you went from one studio to franchising, and then you pulled back, and then you guys grew even more. And then you went to different countries. Then you added new technology. You got the in-body scan. We're adding Lift 45s. There's a lot of these new leaps or new additions to it. Was there ever a most nerve-wracking leap or a most difficult leap that you guys took?
Listen, the technology is always challenging because, you're always going to have things. My watch doesn't work. This is the rower is, you got all of these things that are going to, have a chance to go wrong with technology. So, what I love about, again, you get to the manager, that's Dave Long, is that he, was one that just felt we have to be, we have to own fitness technology. We own heart rate monitoring. We now, at 13 years, have more heart rate data on people than any other company, from an Apple, from anything, because it's tied to a specific form of training, where an Apple, everyone's running and doing their own thing and putting stats in. So if they wanted to really do some solid research or some information on HIIT training or whatever the case may be, we've got that data. And this is stuff that we're, deciding how far we want to go with it, looking at being able to really come out with some statements that by doing this way, this is what happens to the human heart, which is the most important muscle in your body. So I would say technology is always hold our breath in the sense of, do we go to another, we went to the flex, we went to the, and that one wasn't as good as this one, and so on and so forth. But the beauty is we keep throwing it out there. And that's a big investment financially, believe me, from the corporate office of going, you know what, we're going to do this. And sometimes not, it pay back as much as it should pay back. But we feel that we want to be the leaders in this form of fitness training. And we're so far ahead of doing that probably the technology is always the most challenging thing, but the most rewarding thing.
Yeah. And, I think that a lot of times when you try something new, the biggest thing that's going to either spark you to do it or not do it is you believe it's going to work versus you don't believe it's going to work. And so when there's these moments where you think it's going to, you have a pretty strong belief that it's going to work, but you're not really sure, what kind of closes the gap to allow you to take action, if that makes sense, right? Like if you're here and taking action is here, but belief only takes you halfway, what's the thing that closes the gap to where you actually do it?
Yeah, I think from really sitting in those kind of brainstorming sessions and so on and so forth, it's back to that word vision. It's really having the vision that we want to leave a legacy of who we are and what we are. We brought interval group training, heart rate interval group training. We put it on the map. No one was using heart rate monitoring systems. No one was, we even see a lot of copycats with our language now, endurance, strength, and power, this type of thing. Not that we created those words, but how we formatted it and how we had designed it in our workout. And that's fine. We're flattered. That's how we look at it. And, we're pretty confident in what we're doing. But I think what that is be such great visionaries in that. And that's where I have to really the contribution are my partners. Those guys, when they came on board and wanted the artistry of, you kind of really get the human body and how it works. And, a lot of different people, from women who, are comfortable working out with men and they're overweight and this and that, and they're all coming in and doing this. You've kind of worked with all that, and we respect that, but they're visionaries, these guys. They are like, we're going for it. And I've seen it in action. I got excited by it. And sometimes I just grab onto the, tail and take off.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. Well, down to the last few questions here, Ellen. We've talked a lot about your two business partners, Jerome and Dave. What do you think is the biggest lesson that you've learned from them over the past 13 years?
I think because I never had partners and that type of thing is that, collaboration is huge. And what can come of the right team in collaborating is, offering all kinds of great insight that, we talked about earlier that someone else might not have. And which initially does, it kind of sets off some light bulbs in your head. So when you're sitting around and you're collaborating around something and then someone throws something and you're like, oh, wow. Yeah. And what if, and this type of thing happening. And this is what a big part of our growth is really having those kind of minds, hiring those kind of people to come in and be a part of our team, that in these collaborating sessions, great things were discovered.
I love that. And then a little bit to change tone a little bit for this question. We talked a little bit beforehand how you have a 3-year-old and 1-year-old grandkids now. What do you think is the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself since becoming a grandmother?
Oh, wow. Well, I was so busy when I was a mother. You know what I mean? Poor Evan. I often ask him, are you sure everything was okay growing up? I was great. I saw great discipline.
I think he turned out pretty well.
He turned out ridiculously well. But at that time, I'm, on the path of really working like crazy in the fitness industry and, hustling. And like I say, it's a tough, industry to be in, especially way back in my days and, the 90s and, 2000 and that type of thing, just getting out there and trying to make your mark. So with grandchildren, it's just pure bliss. It's like, I've got this time. I, come over here. I live in Fort Lauderdale. They're in Nashville. I fly here. I've got this concentrated time that I'm with them literally hours on end playing. And just, if I tell you, I go home exhausted, but I go home and my heart is just like, it's just overflowing with great joy. So that is what I think I'm sitting in moments of like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how busy I was at that time of trying to build something. But, I'm thrilled that I've built something for, my family and the legacy that it will leave.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny. You talk about your grandkids with just the same amount of passion, if not more passion, as you do with when you talk about Orangetheory Fitness. And you're I think you talk about Orangetheory with a lot of passion, but not necessarily with like a smile the entire time, I guess. But when you're talking about your grandkids, you're smiling and you're passionate. Oh, it was just cool to see. It was just cool to see. Before I ask the last question, Ellen, I just want to acknowledge you again for changing my life, for changing so many others, but also for your passion around providing hope for others and their physical fitness, because that's what it's all about. And that's what everybody is kind of looking for. Everybody is just like, kind of wants this, like, believe in me, believe that I can do this. And they need somebody there to help give them that hope and give them that belief. And I just think that you've done such a great job of that, obviously, over the past decade plus with Orangetheory and the 40 years leading up to it. That is just super special, and it's affected so many.
Well, thank you so much. And I'm thrilled to have met you. And I love this because we have so many great people like you who are out there coaching all of these members. And you really get it, as I say, and put it in quotes, that you aren't in there. I often say there's trainer-based coaching and there's student-based coaching. Mm-hmm. And fitness, a lot of times, have been trainer-based coaching. And what that is the trainer goes in and it's about them. This is the workout we're going to do today because that's the workout they do and they like. And you've seen this for years in personal training and gyms. And it really wasn't someone sitting back and going, yeah, but I got Betty over there who's like very overweight and I'm asking her to jump up on top of a 6-foot box and leap off the other end. And it's just like a frame of thinking. And I really wanted a product that the fitness professionals coming into it were student-based coaching type individuals where it was about them. So they weren't sitting there and so frustrated that, well, why would we do this workout today or that workout today? They're sitting there and maybe processing, well, maybe the Temple of Design thought this would be a good one for Betty to feel. Maybe it's a little simpler today and Betty needs some hope here and not just always that group that wants to be driven into the ground fitness wise, which is just that 20%, not the 80. Believe me, I'm constantly reminding my team about this because it's real easy to get into that trainer-based coaching. So I thank you because you sound like you are, like I say, and we have many out there, thank goodness, who are student-based coaches out there. So I thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate it. And I love that. I love that distinction for sure. And I know so many people here are going to just love this conversation and love hearing from you because I know so many people out there listening have taken Orangetheory and have taken it for a long time. And for those of you guys who have not, make sure you go and try it out. I don't know if you how you could not after hearing this conversation. But the last question here, Ellen, is I think that getting closer to the best version of yourself is both a constant journey and a unique journey. I don't think that we're ever at that best version of ourselves. We keep striving, and maybe on our last day we can take our final breath, satisfied that we got as close as we could. And then I also think it's a unique journey. I think the way that you're going to get closer to the best version of yourself is a little bit different than the way that I'm going to get closer to the best version of myself. So for you personally, if there are 3 things that you could currently do or currently work on to get closer to that best Ellen Latham that you could possibly be, then what are those 3 things that you could currently do or currently work on?
Well, I have great difficulty turning off. You know what I mean? And I think it's just because, I mean, I'm sure you can probably relate to if you're someone that you're looking to accomplish something, especially the last 13 years that we've been driving this, Orange Theory ship down the waters. It's you're on a lot. So I would love to find ways. Now, I do find coming to Tennessee, I was actually mentioning this in the car the other day, that just driving, over to Evan's house through the mountains and there's country music playing on the radio. And it's just like, it's like, I think I feel a little calmer, that
Yeah.
I usually do at this time of day at home. And so I would like to work on, doing that more. So hard for me because I still feel like there's so much more we're doing with Orange and I want to be involved with. It's very hard for me to, kind of not stay involved. So that would be something that I'd really, like to work on. I'm doing the other thing, which is really trying to spend as much time as I can, with my son and with my grandkids because of all of those years of, really pursuing, my field of work and so on and so forth. And, I think that I love being an intentional learner. I talk about that. I read a lot. I have a library. I'm not really a Kindle person. Or Kindle, what is you're reading on the right? I'm not that. I need a book. I need a solid book that I read. So I'm constantly, reading all kinds of different topics from it being, self-awareness, self-help type of things to physiology to there's a lot of things. I'm very into anti-aging, being 65, and I do a lot of biohacking personally. So I'm, do the Jove red light, I have a red light wall at my house. I'm putting an infrared sauna in. I do cold plunge, and salt water, hot. I'm into trying to preserve these cells that I've been whipping around for 65 years so that I can get some longevity out of them. So I think, my efforts in biohacking is definitely up there.
Awesome. Well, those are three great things, Ellen. Again, it's been an absolute honor having you on today. I know a lot of people got so much out of it. I know I got so much out of it. So I really appreciate your time.